All right. I think got a chance to say a few things after the game on Saturday, but I think the biggest thing that I do want to reflect about is our effort. I think we asked our guys to go in there and play their tails off, and the tape reflected that they did that. I think we made a bunch of plays in all three phases. We definitely had an edge in the special teams. The turnover margin was even, but then when you look at third down and then our red zone production, those are areas that we were behind the mark, behind what they were able to do. Then of course the penalty piece is something that largely we've been able to stay away from, but in that game, in that environment, it certainly caught up with us. So I think it's an effort that we can build upon. Extremely disappointed that the outcome was not in our favor. I think there's absolutely no moral victories in coming up close there. Absolutely none. We are 1-1, and that's the fact of the matter. We got to find a way to look at the things critically that didn't go our way and improve upon them. Good football teams can reset every day they come back, and for us that's Monday. The guys get Sunday off. So reset today, watch the film, learn from it, go out and practice, and we did that this morning. And find a way to get better this week and not let our opponent dictate how we feel about the game, how we go after the game, etc. So it's a real test for us this week to do just that, to reset and to go about our business this week and prepare for Stetson. Stetson's a 2-0 team out of the Pioneer League. Far from the accolades, certainly, than a South Dakota State, but it's the team that's in front of us next. And you watch their two games; they're aggressive. They're a 3-3-5 defense that's very aggressive in nature. And then on the offensive side of the ball, they have the ability to be explosive. They've shown that in these first two games. And any team that comes here, we have to put our best foot forward. And really this week as we complete the non-conference schedule, we got to come out of it better. And so we are prepared for Big Sky play in such a manner that we feel like end of September we're a better team than we were at the beginning of it. On the injury front, I'm sure everybody's wondering about Tommy. His situation, not being able to finish that game, was due to injury, obviously, and he's continuing to be evaluated. Haven't got definitive word on what that evaluation is going to be as of us talking right now, but obviously concerning. Tommy is a key part to our success, and not having him does just change us. It obviously does, but we will have to move on whether we have him this week or not. Otherwise, I think that was a really physical game, but I think we got out of it pretty well, and that's the nature of football. You're going to have those physical games that you go after it, and you're going to walk away stiff and sore, but ideally, come the end of the next week, you're ready to go, and that's where we're at right now. Looking forward to Stetson, and I'm looking forward to continue to improve this football team.
I guess just looking back on the film, reflecting on the SDSU game, what did you think of just the run-pass balance on offense, especially in the red zone?
Well, I think it's easy to come in on Sunday and Monday and say we should have done this, we should have did this. I think field position-wise, we had an advantage, and we moved the ball well with that advantage in mind. Could we have passed it more? Should we have passed it more? I think, yeah, you'd say yes at this point. Were there some things inside the 5 that even schematically we could have done differently, we would have liked to do differently now that we know they didn't work? Yes. I think, we went in with a plan. I think it was obvious that plan was to probably lean on our quarterbacks a little bit more in the run game. But I think once you come out of it after 2 games and you recognize that we have a good stable running backs right now, and we ideally can lean on them a little bit more. And at the same time, our receiving core has been limited personnel-wise, and that's maybe dictate our thoughts a little bit. But there's no question you come out of that and say, hey, yeah, you wish you could have done this, this, and this. But I think you can't look back and change anything. All you can do is change your thoughts moving forward. And I think we'll aim to have more balance moving forward. And this is a great opportunity this next week to see where that's at.
And you mentioned the receiving core there, no Ty, no Junior, no Taco. I guess where is the confidence level with the passing game right now?
Well, I think you look at when we've passed, I don't think it should be in a position that our confidence should be poor. I think you go through a stretch in fall camp and you have generally your full complement, and you see it maybe a little bit different, and we haven't had that full complement for these first couple games. But I think it's something that we have to build upon. I think by nature we're gonna lean on the running game. And we were finding ourselves in a lot of favorable down and distances in that game. And like I said, the field position piece was generally in our favor. But at the same time, that shouldn't predicate that we're going to just run the football either. So, I think we gotta expand our thought process, our horizons as far as just our balance and work towards that as we continue this season.
With the running backs, I think Julius and he's kind of the main guy. Scott Trey, I think, got one carry.
Mm-hmm.
Elijah can get in. I guess what can you speak to that?
Well, I really liked how Julius ran the football, and we've talked a little bit about it. There's some set rotation, but once you get going, sometimes the hot hand prevails. And that game was generally shortened, just play-wise. And Julius, I think, really continues to flash like we hoped he would. Jared, with his performance the week before, probably earned a little bit more favor going in this game. Had those opportunities in. Scott Trey is still young and didn't get as many. In that game, to say you're going to get much more beyond three guys involved in the attack, I think probably wasn't going to happen on that day, given how many times our quarterbacks carried it. And there was a fair amount of read plays within that the ball potentially could go to the running backs or to the quarterbacks, but there was a heavy quarterback run game, and that in itself, it limited the opportunities for the running backs.
And so Scott Trey was healthy then?
Oh yeah, yeah. He went in and got one carry, and probably wasn't everything we hoped for, and we got him out of there. And I think he went in one more time. I think he literally only played 2 plays, so played on special teams and stuff. So.
And then with the last week obviously, or the Utah Tech game, there's the goal line stand that they had, and then it's similar. You've talked about it. I guess is that one of you just feel so confident that you can get in, or was there a point in that game where you're like, maybe we should try a sweep or a
yeah, I think we evolved in the Utah Tech piece. I mean, I know we were down there and we ran it inside a few times, and whether we got in or not, we didn't obviously get a touchdown call for us, but we evolved as that game went along. And in this one, we didn't get all our chances for one, and I think we got penalties down there a couple times that then set us back when we weren't necessarily in the goal line mode. But regardless, Montana State has the ball first and goal. We need a touchdown. We need a touchdown first down, and we got to figure out a way to get that done. And if that's getting the ball outside, if it's throwing the ball, we got to be able to do that. And we didn't get it done in that game. That's terribly unfortunate because you block a punt and you have all the momentum there to grasp in your hand, and then you settle for a field goal. You give a bunch of it back, So that was a really poor sequence for us, and I know there was a penalty within that as well. So yeah, there's no doubt I think we can hand the ball off to our running backs more down there. We don't need to rely on the quarterbacks to score, and we got the means to be able to put the ball in different places. We just didn't in that game.
Just any update on Junior? I know he's on there.
Yeah, as of today, nothing's changed. I anticipate that we will find out one way or another this week. Again, whether that's going to be today, tomorrow, Wednesday, Thursday, I don't know, but we anticipate that we will find out this week.
You mentioned Stetson's them on film, especially the quarterback play?
Yeah, they've you look at attempts, they've played two guys, but number 12 is really it seems to be their main guy, and he can throw it around pretty good. I think has a solid command. I know they got speed on the outside. They've hit deep balls in these games, and they have a couple running backs I think that can really go and not only can run it but can catch it as well. So, I think they're a team that, again, on paper, everybody will have an opinion about how this game should go, but we still have to go out and play it and recognize the things that they really do well. And I think having an explosive nature on offense is something that definitely has our eyes open.
And then defensively, that 3-5, and they got some talent on the back end too. Just what do you see from them?
Yeah, they're willing to be really very aggressive with it. The 3-3-5 has a lot of different functions. In one is simply to play a lot of coverage, to play a lot of zone coverage, to play 8 men in coverage, but which they do. But they're not afraid to go zero coverage and put their defensive backs in man-to-man, no safety help situations. So, and that's in doing so that there's a lot of risk reward, but they're saying their guys can cover and they're going to get to the passer sooner than you can get it off, and they've done that time after time. So, that'll certainly test our protection. It's going to be important for us in this game to stay on schedule, to stay ahead of the chains, and not get them into advantageous defensive down distances.
And I know you already spoke to Tommy and Junior's situation, but any other updates on the injury front?
Yeah, so we played another game without Ty, and I anticipate we got at least another week there. I know defensively, Miles Jackson didn't play. We're hopeful to get him back this week. Probably won't know until a little bit later. Otherwise we are down some backups. I know JT Reed, that's a situation he'll come back from, but that's not going to be any time, I would say, in the next few weeks for sure. Yeah, I think otherwise, is there anyone else that Lane's out for an extended period right now?
Paul and Tyson.
Yeah, Tyson did make that trip, so I'm glad to bring him up. Tyson was available on Saturday, and then Paul Brott, he may be available this week. I know we're missing him right now. I think Paul was making his way last fall as a playmaker in that front, and hasn't been available for some time, but hopefully we get him back sooner than later.
Just any different perspective on the Cleveland pass now that if you've been able to see any more of it?
My take, they called it a touchdown, and I was hopeful that there wouldn't be indisputable evidence to turn it, and I don't know what that was. Quite frankly, I wasn't given really much of any information other than they saw it as incomplete. So, you bring replay in the play, whether it's at the NFL level or the college level. It's meant to get the call right, and whether they did or not, I haven't been given anything clearly to say what that was. I did reach out to our director of officials just to get some clarity on what they saw, and it was bang bang, it was tight, and unfortunately for us, it didn't work out.
Chambers was so emotional after that got overturned and everything. I'm just curious, it's been a couple days to process now. Have you seen anything from him today going into this week, maybe using it as fuel?
Oh, I think so. I think it's just one of those games where you're so emotionally invested and beyond the physical component, and there's the minutes that went off there while they're reviewing it that in some ways you think you pulled a miracle out, and that would have been fairly miraculous had we won in that fashion. So I think it's the emotions of it. You just ride that wave and you pour so much into it. But he's a veteran like a lot of our guys are, so they know that you can't change that outcome. That outcome has been determined, and all you can do is move forward. And I thought we had a pretty good reset by the team this morning.
Anything else?
Just one more on the defense. I think first shutout against South Dakota State that they've had since 2015. What have you seen, just more than you've already said, about just how improved that group has been since last season?
Oh, well, I think in that game against a really good opponent, we were disruptive up front, and we've been disruptive up front. But we were in that game, whether that's in the run game or creating some opportunities to sack the quarterback, put pressure on the quarterback. I think we're playing very well right now within the scheme assignment-wise. We're trusting one another at a good rate. Now, we didn't make all the plays in that game. We missed some open field tackles. There was times, when they got some. It wasn't that they were getting pushed so much up front, but they were, they got good running backs and they were getting 4, 5, 6 yards. I think some of those runs they popped off at the beginning of the third quarter was a very big stretch for them. And we had guys in position on a couple of those, and we just didn't knock it down. But expected them to come out of halftime with some energy. But then what I was really pleased, I think our defense responded a couple times in that second half and got stops. And ultimately we take a lead, and then it takes them 2 plays to score. So we still haven't quite figured it out. I mean, I think it's we played, I think, really good defense down the stretch. And probably excluding that game against South Dakota State last year, and that's the defense you remember more than the defense that had its issues through the first part of the year when we were a little strapped personnel wise. So I think we were capable of being a really good defense and really being able to lean on our defense, and we got to keep coming as far as that goes, and we got to find opportunities to play more guys and improve upon our depth at the same time.
The false starts, was that crowd noise, or was it more so communication up front?
Well, I think it becomes both. I think the crowd noise creates a harder situation to communicate, and it was multiple guys. So I think as a coaching staff and as a head coach, you look at, did we put our guys in the best position to succeed in that environment? What are we going to do the next time we get in an environment that has noise of that nature? We have to be able to function. And having the number of false starts that we did is not functioning. You might have 1 or 2 with a guy being antsy, whether you're home or away, but to have that many, we gotta fix that. We gotta be louder at quarterback. We gotta be more dialed in to the trigger we need to hear, and that just wasn't happening at the rate it needed in that game, and it cost us.